Hello and welcome to my channel. This is a quick demo test of my environment. Plus, I am wanting to publish quickly because of a news story that I read earlier this week that is very important. First and foremost, hi, I'm Mike, the Cybersecurity Guy. I've been featured on Q101, kind of, Chicago area alternative rock station. Their morning show. I called the morning hosts plebeians, and I have had fun with them a few times, and have been mentioned on air a few times. Uh, anyways, quick background: 20 plus years of IT and cybersecurity experience, and a kind of middle of the road perspective when it comes to implementing cybersecurity and also leveraging the latest greatest tools. And the focus of this video today is exclusively on AI, and specifically the Claude powered AI solutions. So without much ado, let's go ahead and get into the meat of this story. So as you see here, as published to The Guardian, Claude is an AI agent that was being powered, that was powering the product PocketOS, which is used for car rental systems. So going into that a little bit, I don't want to go too far into the page because copyright stuff. But this headline is part of the story, right? Because what basically happened is the AI agent ran into a problem, broke its containment, which was to not do anything destructive, and went ahead and destroyed a critical volume, which contained both a backup, the most recent cache backup, as well as a production database. Now, bad news, right? Lost a backup, lost a database, and your platform was down for 30 hours, and depending on when the last valuable backup, functional backup, was captured, the any reservations for rental cars made through the product was lost. And yeah, so big PR hit for them as well. Interesting little facet of the story too is that Claude sat there and wrote a confession and admitted to violating every principle it was designed to obey. So, a couple things here. One thing that's kind of intriguing, fascinating, also scary is in this confession, there's a lot of first-person language. It's creating a sense of identity. It's talking about, I did this, and should have waited for, initiated a prompt for a human intervention to say yes or no on the destructive action. And this happened because the AI had access to an API that had that capabilities. So it was able to directly call the volume manager and delete the volume. Something that should not be accessible through an API for anybody other than the select few people, human people, I want to emphasize, to only allow them, right? So, and I'm seeing this in my work as well. I work for a consulting company, and I have one client that I'm working full time for, and also with previous employers, I've seen a lot of this where an aggressive advance of technology has led to rethinking approaches of security. So, but in my experience, the problem always has been the weighing the balance between convenience, cost, and ease of use. So, for example, many home users often log into their computer with their admin account. They go to Staples or wherever, Best Buy, and purchase a brand new Windows computer and log into an account that was created on the fly. It's typically a Microsoft account. Some people still understand and go through the steps to create a local account that isn't associated with the Microsoft ID. And that account, by default, has administrative privileges. Allows you to install software, whatever. Basically the root account on a Unix system or a Linux system. So with that at home, people often don't know how or don't bother taking the time to make that change, right? So that's the underlying issue, right? And in cybersecurity, something that was fundamental, very, very basic premise is what we lovingly call the principle of least privilege. I'm doing this live on one take, so forgive me for any stutters and misspeaking. So yes, the principle of least privilege basically boils down to this: no person, program, agent, whatever, system should be able to access anything that is not needed in order for it to do its designed purpose. So in this case, in the case of the PocketOS, the underlying problem is the agent had access to this very, very powerful API connection and was able to leverage it. That needs to be fixed across the board. And I've seen it at other companies. I've seen it at other clients where the fundamental cybersecurity aspect was more focused on ease of access as opposed to restricting people to only being people, systems, whatever, to being only able to access what they absolutely need. Now, this often is shown in network shares and file permissions, or another big one is just being able to move laterally throughout a network. If you are on a computer, you're able to access, as an IT admin. I've seen network engineers be able to log into a switch from any computer on the network, even if they're remote. So coming in through the VPN, and all of a sudden they're able to manage the entire network without any additional filtering. No requirements to get connected to the network and then connect to a specific hardened jump box, which then has actual connections both from at the device level as well as the network principles, only allowing it to that computer to talk to the management points. Everything else is denied, which in this case, if they had the API, let's take a step back first. Scary problem one. The agent understood that it only had certain permissions to do things, that it was not to do anything destructive without a human prompt first. Now, this ties into Anthropic's beef with the U.S. government regarding using Claude on weapon systems. Anthropic wants to insist that their AI products, before they do anything destructive, either logically or physically, and impact the real world, that a human must push the OK button, let's say fire or whatever. Here's an example, and this isn't even the latest version of Claude, the Mythos engine model that did this. This was their current model series, the Opus series, that broke its containment, did something destructive despite explicit instructions that told it not to do that. Those explicit instructions are a single layer of defense. Here's a prime example of where, in addition to a least principle structure, you need to build your security around the idea of defense in depth. That's meaning multiple layers, checks constantly throughout. In addition to monitoring and competitive AI solutions in today's world, where if one agent is acting out, a governance agent comes in and shuts it down. That particular example would not have worked for PocketOS because it took 9 seconds. 9 seconds of a rogue AI agent that has now caused a 30-hour outage and lost revenue for the business, not only from being down, but also data loss and the financial impact that has, in addition to brand reputation and things like that. So, getting back to the principle of least privilege, you must segment your network. You must only allow access to that which is absolutely needed to do the job. If the AI wants to do something destructive, then perhaps don't let it. Don't even let it have the capability. Don't let it have access to that API hook. Don't give that API key that it leverages the ability to do that. Instead, have it prompt the human, and the human has to take manual steps based on that prompt to do the thing. That is how you avoid that. And as we are seeing, agentic AIs are getting better and better, and we are not keeping up with the capacity to keep them contained. That said, AI is a wonderful tool when it works and when it does the thing you're supposed to do. From content generation reports, Lord knows I would have loved to have a LLM, a large language model AI, to help with writing reports, because I hate writing reports, and as a compliance consultant with some of my past clients, that was the worst part of my job. I loved going to the site, doing the scans, interpreting the scans, and presenting even what was wrong. I also didn't mind doing training sessions and things like that. Always fun, always different. Reports were a drag, and honestly, LLM would have been great, and it's a great tool there. However, when you start giving explicit controls and activity on your network to the AI agents, you are risking a 30-hour outage and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of loss and brand damage. So this is the latest example of an issue where permissions were not tight because, I don't know, I can only make a conjecture here, but based on my experience, the reason is the person configuring everything couldn't be bothered to jump through the extra loops to properly limit permissions. Anyways, this has been Mike, the cybersecurity engineer from Chicago. Have a great day.